I'm going to show you my favorite free tool for keyword research that no one talks about enough, and the people that are talking about it aren't using it the right way. And I'm not saying that to be clickbait. I'm genuinely confused why no one is using it properly. This is Google Trends. Google Trends is a free tool from Google. It is the only keyword research tool that is literally from the source, from Google, and that is meant to help content creators. It's not meant for ads. It's not meant for, Google AdWords and Keyword Planner are really much more meant for people running Google ads. This is meant largely for content creators to see what's happening, what's trending, but also to see what has trended, to do market research. So it is so much more effective. And it's something that's actually user-friendly, unlike Google AdWords, which I think has the most hideous user experience I've ever seen of anything. And unlike other keyword research tools where you get maybe 2 free keywords a month or something, this is truly free. It is 100% free. So you're going to be able to do as many searches as you want, as often as you want, and do so much research into your niche, into your audience, into even what you're going to sell or what other people sell that you can be an affiliate for around Christmas time, Valentine's Day, any of those big spikes. Okay, I'm going to stop yapping about why I love this, and we're actually going to get into how to use it so that you can love it too. But before I do that, I just want to do the obligatory, hey, I'm Nina, I'm the founder of She Knows SEO. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, pretty please, and for you to share this video with anyone who needs some extra help, because I really think SEO needs to be accessible and not tech bro-y, not $1 million a month to do. And what I'm going to show you today is really how anyone can get started with SEO, and even how experienced SEOs like myself stay ahead of the curve for trends, stay ahead of the curve for seasonality, and are basically mind readers for our audience. So if you've ever watched That's So Raven and you loved it and you want it to be Raven, this is your moment without the weird staring off into the distance thing. Don't worry, I'm not going to do it. I'm pretty sure Disney would claim copyright over this video if I did. Okay, so to start, what we need to do is go to Google Trends. So it's trends.google.com, or you can literally Google Google Trends, and this will bring you here. Once you get here, you'll see that it's actually starting to give you ideas of what's trending. And so it's going to tell you these things are trending. It even tells you where it's trending. And this is kind of a good way to just see some intro ideas, but it's really going to cover everything. As we can see, we're getting a lot of different stuff that probably isn't relevant to us either for the location of our audience or for things that just matter to us individually. 50 Cent here, this thing is happening about the War of the Worlds for some reason mattering again. And with that, does that matter to my SEO site? No. So what we're going to do instead is use this as an example. This section is trying to show us how we should be searching. So what it wants us to do is enter a keyword. What it doesn't want us to do is enter things to do in Toronto with kids and a dog. That's not what we want here. We want a base keyword. We want to have something that is what the industry calls it a seed keyword. I like to call it a root keyword because I studied etymology when I was at university and did a lot of Old English. So I like to think of it in terms of language where there's the root language, and then we add on to it with variables so Toronto would be the root. Things to do in Toronto is one variable. Things to do in Toronto, the with kids is another variable. The with a dog is another variable, all tacked on there together. So in this case, I'm going to use something that came out today at time of recording, GPT-5. So ChatGPT just launched GPT-5 literally today, and you can see exactly when it launches on this trend graph. Now, Google Trends is looking at real-time searches. It is basically the only thing doing that other than maybe Google Analytics, and even that is 48 hours delayed. I recommend Microsoft Clarity. I have a video on my channel of how I use that. It's an amazing free tool, so much better than Google Analytics, and it has really cool heat maps. Check it out. Doesn't affect your site speed. I show you how to use it. But here, I'm getting to see actual search trends over a period of time. And in this case, it's showing me the past day. But I can actually filter this. There's a bunch of different filters we're going to use here, and I'm going to show you how to do them all. First, we want to go to worldwide typically, because I want to see what's happening across the world. The US, it's end of day in North America, and EST at 7:30 p.m. So we're going to have a dip in searches as we were seeing with that US example for same day. But globally, other places are just waking up. Other places are just getting started. So we can see it's much more flat and consistent across the globe. But when I also do worldwide, if I scroll down, I can then see interest by region. So there's helpfully these little info boxes where it'll give you a bit more information on this. But essentially, it's going to tell us the regions that are most interested in engaging the most with this stuff. So interestingly, Israel is the place that's like really hitting for this. Wouldn't have expected that. Canada's number 2. I would have 100% thought that the US would be like way more up here, and probably like more tech centers and tech hubs like China and India, except that it's not the right time of day for them right now. Like they're just starting to get into it. So that's why it's important to know globally. But this also means that if I'm writing content on ChatGPT, on GPT-5, I can target it to whoever's around right now. Definitely we want to target it to our ideal audience, but I do think it's helpful, especially for something like travel content, SEO tips, things like that, to try to figure out examples that are going to make sense for the region that you're talking to. So if I'm talking about like travel to Toronto, I want to figure out who's looking at that travel so that I can make comparisons that are relevant to those people. That's how it literally seems like we are like in our audience's mind, and they're like, holy shit, Nina knows me, Nina knows this stuff. Oh my God, she's like so brilliant. I'm not going to keep hyping myself. I'm already feeling very weird. I'm going to have to like talk to my therapist about like how uncomfortable that just made me. A hypothetical of saying that I know something. But with this, we also can zoom out and adjust not just the location, but the time period. So here we have options for throughout the day, throughout the week, month, 3 months, year, past years. And then 2004 is like when this starts tracking data, which I think is quite funny. But if we zoom out even this for like the past 12 months, we're going to see that it flatlines because it didn't exist yet. Like it was something that people like mentioned like, oh, is it coming soon? Will there be a GPT-5? What's happening? Whatever. But it didn't exist. And then you can see over here, when you zoom out too much, it can't do the full comparison yet. So it's doing predictive. It even says like, we have partial incomplete data available. It'll land itself a little bit more thoroughly later, but pretty clear that it's taken off now in a way that it like hadn't taken off before. So this is really helpful to see like trends, especially for seasonality, see things over time. And when we see a graph like this graph is telling me this is something called a breakout. A breakout star is like anything that's up like 5,000%. I don't know in the exact period. I think it's like whatever period you're looking at. But essentially, if it had a giant increase in search volume and search traffic, it's a breakout star. It is something that is essentially viral at the moment, whether it's going to stay viral or if it's just like breakout because what it had before was like not very good. So it's comparative to its past, not comparative to like every topic everywhere. Those you'll find in the trending now section. But we can also filter. So like with SEO, it can be a bit hard because the term SEO is an acronym. And so there's a lot of things that SEO could stand for. And it seems like every time I search SEO, there's like something Korean that comes up that I don't really understand. So we have like search engine optimization. For some reason, breasts are coming up. I don't know why, but we have like different things happening here. But for that, we would then want to filter by a category. So for GPT-5, maybe GPT-5 is like also a video game or something. Well, then I'd want to come and make sure that I'm specific that this is like ChatGPT related. This is something that's like computer related, something that's, I would probably go with search engines here. There's one, where is it? I think it might be in computers and electronics. I always just like start typing stuff and see what comes up, but I can then filter to make sure that I'm getting something more topically appropriate. A good example of this is like the Eagles football team, animal eagles. I'd want to filter and say sports versus animals. That way we know what we're getting. So I'm not getting like trends for eagle conservation when I'm looking for football trends. Like that would be an important distinction. We also over here have different ways that we can search. So it'll default to web search, but we also have images, news, Google Shopping. Google Shopping is the one to look at for any sort of like thing that's being sold to see when it's trending for you to write content about it, for you to like sell content or copies around it or create like social media stuff around it or whatever. But basically it means that it's kicking off and people are trying to buy that thing. I would assume Labubus have had some sort of like Google Shopping uptick. I'm afraid to ever type in that word. They fucking haunt me. I hate them. They're so creepy. But then we also have YouTube search as well. So you can also use this for trending video topics, which is really cool. But I want to talk more about this graph because we have like this like breakout like uptick here. And when we adjust these, we can zoom out and then get a better picture of this over time, right? But there's 3 different types of pictures we're going to get, maybe 4, I guess. The 4th is essentially dead in the water. No one's searching for it. No one cares about it. But that's the one we just kind of want to ignore. So it's something like if you were looking up something that genuinely doesn't exist anymore, that no one cares about. So maybe like GPT-1 or something, which like no one uses, things like that. We want to be looking for things that people are still searching for. This is option 1, which is a breakout like trending graph. This is so good. Whenever you find these, you want to write content around it, especially because if it's trending, usually no one else has content yet. So you can be one of the first. You can get a massive influx of traffic. You seem so far ahead of your competitors for your audience and for other like experts in your niche. I did this for the Google algorithm leak in May of 2024, I think it was. Yes, something like that. May of 2024. And because I ranked number 1 so quickly, because I did a really in-depth analysis in a single day, and because unfortunately they were suppressing the people who actually did the algorithm leak, like proper journalism, but I ranked number 1, people searching that topic to learn about it so that they could write their own content linked to me. And I got a ton of industry acclaim out of it because I was like literally ahead of the curve here. And we're seeing the curve, so we can like leverage that curve. But there's 2 other types as well. So the other one would be something that is seasonal. So let's look at Christmas recipes and let's zoom out for 5 years. And you'll see it's these lovely little ski hills. And you can see that like, okay, in like August, no one cares about this. But in December, oh my God, everyone cares about this. So this is how we can predict seasonality for different things. It's how we can predict seasonal content. Christmas is obviously in a certain season, but this is also true of other content. So even like fruit salad is going to peak in summer versus in winter because there's more seasonal fruit, but it's not specifically a summer content idea. Same with travel to certain locations like Canada in the winter. Kind of horrendous unless you really want a lot of snow. Genuinely, like living in Ottawa when it would be negative 30 degrees Celsius when I would walk Theo, my eyelashes would freeze together as I was just walking because of how cold it was. So not great. So people don't tend to come here as much in the winter. So because of that, there would be a lower trend in winter for seasonal searches, even though things to do in Toronto is not inherently tied to a certain season. So this is really helpful to like learn how people are searching, also to predict when you might have a low period. If you have a Christmas dedicated site, your summers are going to kind of suck. Or if you have a site that's dedicated to recipes, you would know, okay, well, Christmas is great, but I need something in summer. Otherwise, like this is going to be feast or famine. And I don't think recipe sites should be famine related. That seems weird and paradoxical, in my opinion. The other thing that we can see is something that's like a trend of growth that's like going up. So if we see like ChatGPT, this is something that like we're seeing growth in it and it's going up. There's like a little dip from when it like really trended kind of in, where is that? Yeah, like April 2025, March, April 2025. But we can see that like overall it's had pretty steady growth. So this is something that is still worth covering because it's on the uptick. Something that is like flatlining but high, the interest is still high. That's good. That's evergreen. This is something that's still growing and becoming more evergreen. But if we had like been looking at this and it just started dropping off and then like here it just went all the way down from February 2025 and just like flatlined at the bottom, don't write on that. No one wants it anymore, especially if that's like a thing that's lasting more than a few months. If it's not something that's seasonal and cyclical, you don't want to write on something that no one is interested in anymore. So this is how we can like basically predict, is this something that if I write it today, okay, maybe it'll get 100 views this year, but like it looks like by next year, the interest will have gone up. So I could get even more views. Maybe it's something that is cutting edge so you can be ahead of the curve. And maybe it's something where it's like, okay, I know that like my audience are going to need those Christmas recipes. So I can be ready ahead of time and be really like set to create content for them. So with this, when do we create this content? Just like a little like side note, and then we'll get back to some of the ways that we can like use Google Trends. But when you have something that's like a breakout star, something that is like trending like GPT-5 is right now, get on that immediately. I want you to go run some tests, do some stuff around it, do your best to create original content as quickly as possible. You're not a journalist, so you're not just gonna like make news that's like GPT-5 is here. You need to say something. So for me, I'd be like, okay, here's how GPT-5 compares to GPT-4 for bloggers, or here's like some prompts to use with it that are different than the last thing. You want to make sure that it's very clear like what the benefit is to your people. You're not just telling them news, you're telling them what to do with this. Same would go for like nail trends. If it's like, okay, summer nail trends are, I don't know, let's do fall nail trends, or like you need to like have like a maple leaf drawn on your nails or something. Well, then if that's the trend, you're not just going to tell them that's the trend. You're going to tell them how to actually do that thing, or where they can buy stick-on sets, or like some examples that they should give their nail artist, and like whether coffin or almond, or I don't really know anything about nails. Mine are like, God, they're so bad right now. They're chipped and stubby and covered in dirt from playing with Theo at the park and packing. So not great. But because of that, like I don't know those things, you would. So you would know what to help your audience with. We don't just want to like tell them information. We want to give them something actionable and make this relevant to them. So that's how we're going to use kind of a breakout thing. For something that's seasonal, we want to write it 6 months before that peak. So if Christmas stuff peaks in December, well, then I want to write the stuff for it 6 months ahead. And that's because the first 3 months are typically when it's trying to rank. The last 3 months are typically when searches are like starting to steeple up. And so we really want to like get people in that period, not just those people on like that very last day when they're actually making the recipe. Also with recipes, it's a bit hard because like people will find them early, bookmark them, but then make them on Christmas. So like people are actually, they're typically not finding it on the 25th and just happen to have the ingredients in their house. Like they would have found you earlier. So it's important to like already have that stuff ready for people. But for something like this that is more like kind of a steady uptick, I can definitely see some seasonality here around like April for when students are using it for research and things like that, or when a like new version of it is announced and things like that. But overall, it's pretty evergreen while it's still growing. So I would say you could write something on this at any time. But if you're starting to notice a downtick and it's something that like it's been ticking down for more than a couple months, I would probably leave it alone unless you actually know it's really relevant to your audience, because there is a chance that it's just going to be dead in the water. And this is especially true of things that are like super trendy. I expect in a couple of years, no one's going to know what a Labubu doll thingy is. And I hope that's the case. Those things haunt my nightmares. I hate them. No one ever send me a photo of them. I will hire an Etsy witch to curse you. Don't do it, please. They freak me out so much. So now that we know like when to write the content for these, we also need to like actually like lock into some specific content, right? So down here we have related topics and related queries. And we have options for rising, which means things that are increasing in the moment, and then top, which means the things that have already been something people have searched consistently for a while. And you can see that like when you adjust it, it'll change a little bit between the two. In this case, the overall topics, the related topics, there really isn't anything else that could be related. So it makes sense that these are here. But for related queries, I suspect, oh, no, it hasn't changed that much. I thought it would have changed, to be honest. But you can go through this and it'll give you 20 queries that are related to this, and 7, I think it actually is supposed to give you more than 7 topics. I think it's just, that's all that there is. And then if you want, you can even download them for yourself. But I like to just like click through and take a look at them. So here we have like free ChatGPT. What is ChatGPT? ChatGPT web, the app, download. So these are specific things about how to use it. But we even have Gemini and Quillbot, which are other AIs here that show that people are like trying to figure out things related to this for their own AI usage. So I could click into those for other content that I might write around this. These can often, the related queries can often give you like topical, I don't know, I guess just like build your topical authority by writing around other things your audience wants. That's what I was thinking of, topical authority. That way you can like internal link to it. So again, it makes it seem like, oh, they like Nina already knows the next thing that I want to talk about or that I want to learn about. And so that's a really helpful thing down there. The other thing that you can do is actually compare this from one thing to another. So if I have ChatGPT versus Gemini and I want to see the trends over time, I can see which one is trending to know maybe which one I want to put more effort into, which one I want to write more about, because maybe like Gemini was king for a while, but then ChatGPT took off. Maybe the opposite would be true, but this is going to show me trends over time. And it's also going to show me like locations and like where people are interested. And then again, we have some related queries for each of these for different things that people are also searching or that like is also relevant to people. And you can see for Gemini, it's a little bit different. We have Copilot and DeepSeek and Perplexity showing up, and then some specific like Gemini sides of things here. Whereas for ChatGPT, it stays with what we had before because those are the related things for ChatGPT. And you can keep comparing. I could add in Copilot as well if I want to. I could add in Jasper AI, and then we'll see trends for all of these things over this period. And I can even do it for the past 90 days. And then that'll give us like slightly higher graphs to see what's happening in this period. Not surprised, ChatGPT is absolutely dominating, but just something to keep in mind. And you'll notice that as we get more specific with the things that we're searching. So if we're searching for GPT-5 versus ChatGPT, if we're searching for other specifics, it's going to bring us things that are as relevant as possible to our seed keyword. So we can even see here, like with Jasper, we have Jasper versus Copy AI. Jasper AI is really specific. Like people are going to search certain keywords for it. So all of the related queries are very much keywords you would then find in Keysearch if you were looking for this thing. If we go back to just doing GPT-5 and go down to these related things, we can see here we've got, first of all, 5 things to never tell ChatGPT. I think that's a really interesting thing, but also because like it's so new, it's like trying to pull like Stranger Things 5, Grok 4, which is the one for Twitter, and then some misspellings of ChatGPT, but it's because it's so brand new. So the more established it is, the more related queries you'll have. The more specific it is, the more those related queries will mirror like long tail keywords that we would see in Keysearch. But the newer it is, the less related there is because it's brand new, so it doesn't know yet. So that's a really cool thing. Is like, again, you're at the cutting edge with this. Now, if you're just like not sure what to cover or like what's happening in the industry or in the world over the last period of time, you can actually come over to Trending now and see what's happening. I find the US one is always the most like in-depth for some reason. They always get the best stuff. It sucks. But we can get a lot of information here about what's happening. We have the Intel CEO, which I believe is that CEO that got caught at the Coldplay concert. I might be wrong. Oh, no, I think that was like astrology or astronomy or something. But we have a bunch of different, we have something about an FBI director. We have a bunch of things about different sports teams, stuff like that. We have United Airlines flights, Aurora Borealis forecast, things like this that are like all over the place. Maybe I want something specific because I'm like, look, I need 24 hours. Maybe I need like 7 days. And I'm looking for things that are active trends, which means that they're still on the uptick. And maybe I only want things in food and drink. I want to see like, what are people caring about in food and drink? Let's actually turn off active only to get some more options. We have, oh my God, I did see something about breast milk ice cream on Facebook and I'd hoped it was just like a random thing. That's awful. But I guess, hey, if you got a food site, maybe that's it. We have Wendy's Wednesday meals. I didn't know that was a thing. We have a few different like lawsuits and recalls of stuff. We missed International Beer Day, but if you had been checking this, you would have been able to get that. National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, same thing. Looks like some specifics around wineries and then like stuff like coffee shops. People are always looking for coffee, to be honest. But this is going to give you some ideas of what's trending, and it gives you the search volume, which is so cool because it really helps you figure out like, okay, if this is like trending, but 5 people are searching for it, do I actually want to target that? Probably not. And because we have this little graph, we can also see like, is it on the downtick? Is this something that like isn't as relevant anymore for my audience? We typically want things that are more on the uptick or are going to be on an uptick because they're cyclical. So that's what we would do here. With Explorer, you can just keep playing around with that. But also if you come here when it's empty, you can see, oh God, Labubus. You can see that they're here. And it'll give you like trending topics for different periods of time. And if you change the location, you will notice that these will change. I do find that being in specific countries is going to give you more specific data. which I think is more helpful than just like that worldwide stuff, because we can even see here like ChatGPT shows up for this. We've got the postal strike that we're going to have in Canada again, apparently. We've got some stuff about like the US stocks and stuff like that. For the US, they had more of those sports teams. Like there's different stuff happening. So this is a great way to like click around and test things out. And if like me, you get overwhelmed coming to something like this every day, or you just forget and you just like want something delivered to you super easily, we have the Daily Trends newsletter. I'm not going to scroll down more because it'll show off my very old personal email, but I'm subscribed to this, and it's one of the ways that I get things directly to my inbox. It tells me like, hey, here's what's happening today, here's what's on the uptick, here's what's going on. And that's really going to help you stay ahead of the curve, especially in your industry, so that you're making sure that you know these things without needing to be chronically on Google Trends, clicking around stuff, without needing to be like reading Apple News every single day, every minute of the day. Because like, who wants to do that? That's a lot. There's too much happening in the world. Let's be real. Now, once we find some topics here, what I do recommend still doing is going to a paid keyword research tool like Keysearch, especially if it's something that is not like a brand new trend. We want to go and actually figure out like the way people are searching for this. And while this is definitely better for topical like help for us and topical research, as we saw with like GPT-5, it doesn't actually give us specifics on like what to target. Definitely for something more like Christmas recipes, things to do in Toronto, like it's getting us closer to it. But I do find it still very helpful to go like actually do the analysis with something like Keysearch. You can get 30% off with Keysearch when you use She Knows SEO as the code, all lowercase. You'll get 30% off whether you do a monthly plan or an annual plan. So you can batch a ton of stuff with Google Trends here, and then you can actually take it to Keysearch, go do some analysis there for something for the next 3 months, find the keywords you want, go write them, stop your Keysearch subscription after that 1 month, and then go back 3 months later to do it again. This is a great way that's budget friendly and very intro friendly for people. But I do really recommend that like you're not just writing around general topics. We need to actually be verifying specific keywords and search intent and making sure that like each post does one singular thing. We don't want to have blog posts that are like 20,000 word ultimate guides. I don't want to read that. You don't want to read that. What we want is like something like I was saying before with GPT-5, like how is this useful for your audience? What is something actionable based on this? We're not just going to be like everything about Toronto in the summer. We would have one post about weather. We'd have one post about things to do. We'd have one post with an itinerary. We'd have one post about like where to stay with outdoor pools or something like that. But if you had it all in one singular post, people will leave. So that's where something like Keysearch comes in to just find those like little individual bits for you versus accidentally making something that is like War and Peace for Google, because I don't think Google even wants War and Peace. Let's be real. Now I covered a lot here, and this is my favorite like free keyword research tool for beginners, but there is actually a keyword research tool that is free that experienced people can use that I do think is even better, and that is Google Search Console. Because Google Search Console is first-party data of what you're actually ranking for, your exact numbers and metrics, not just some like perceived amount or a rounded up amount, and it's going to give you keywords that you were like ranking for, but not actually like targeting with posts. So I'm going to pop a video on screen right now of how you can go through your Google Search Console to find hidden keyword opportunities, and how you can use Google Search Console just like overall on your site to improve your content and your traffic. And if you enjoyed this video, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and like geeking out over some SEO. I know this took a bit longer than I thought it would. I thought this would be a 5-minute video, but I really like this tool and there's a lot of cool stuff here. And I really wanted to walk you guys through it because I don't think enough people are properly using this for anything but like, hey, what football team is like doing something right now? Or when is Christmas? Like we actually want to use this to analyze data and create content, and use this to like even leverage expertise in our field to get more backlinks, get more authority, and yeah, be psychic to our audience. So they're like, oh my God, how does Dina always know these things? I will say I partially know these things because I'm also like chronically online. So you can use this to not be as online, and then your therapist won't question your screen time because she does make me show it to her. And if anyone knows how to falsely manipulate your screen time to be lower so your therapist doesn't worry about you, tell me how to do that. If you've enjoyed this video, if you liked hanging out with me, please subscribe. I definitely love to see you again. And like this video, share it with anybody, especially any beginners you know who are looking for something that is cost effective, who are looking for something that's going to get them started, and for anyone looking to read the mind of their audience to the point where that people are like, oh my God, like, how does she always know? How is she always on top of this? Yeah, I'd love to have them watch this video, and I'd love to see you guys around again. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.